Marvelous, hello, friends and loved ones. How are you? What are you doing here today? You know Persona 5 just came out, right? I'm not doing any special videos today. I want to play this, okay? So, go watch the new Demonic Compendium. It's on Sandman. It's alright. Oh, alright, fine. I'll do one special video today. In fact, it's a video I've been wanting to do for a while. My top 10 personas. The only rule of this list is a simple one. I'm only counting personas that were specifically designed to be personas. What this means is while we all love designs like Jack Frost or Lilith, they were created as demons, not as personas, so I'm not going to be including them on this list. That's a video for another day. I'd also like to point out that I am going to be potentially spoiling every Persona game from 1 to 4 and the spin-offs, so watch this video at your own risk. There is a Persona from 5 on this list, but I promise I am not going into any spoiler territories there. So with all that out of the way, let's get started. In a minute. There! At the very top of our list is the shining kind of horse monster wielded by Shinjiro Aragaki, Castor. I love the design of this guy. He looks awesome, he has no weaknesses, and Shinjiro is one of my favorite characters. I also love how the design of this persona complements his mythological brother Polydeuces in Akihiko's persona. It's a really cool extra touch, and if all that wasn't enough, when leveled up, Castor learns some of the best physical attacks in the entire game. It's just a shame he never picks up Null Pierce. Aww. What? Is it still too soon? It's been like 10 years. I'm sorry. He's dead. Now how can you have a completely 100% subjective list of the top 10 personas without including the original persona? Seimon Kongu, the initial persona of the protagonist from the very first Persona game, or Starion, as he was known in the weird Americanized version people don't talk about much. He may not be the most iconic initial persona, especially when he's got to compete with stuff like Orpheus and Izanagi, but I'm giving Emperor SK here a pass simply due to its status in the Persona series. This dude is literally the first persona we've met in the history of the franchise, and that's pretty boss. Also, while completely absent from the game, his official artwork shows him with his cool monkey friends. Does Izanagi have monkey friends? Yeah. I thought not. Way back when I was following news on Persona Q Shadows of the Labyrinth, a bit of information that really disappointed me was that the only new characters to the game, Rei and Zen, would not have their own personas. This bummed me out because, well, I like seeing new personas in the series. They're the titular concept, and one I'm certainly interested in.
Aw, but personas are so cool.
Yes, Rei! Yes, they are! However, while Raisin may not have gotten their own personas, we did get a brand new persona in Q in the form of Zeus. I mean, okay, this technically counts as two personas. There's both Zeus and Warrior Zeus. I'm more a fan of Warrior Zeus myself. He's got that enormous beard helmet, and he just feels more Zeus-like. Probably because he's not a robotic anime angel boy. I think it's also worth mentioning that Zeus is the only persona thus far in the series not designed by Kaneko or Seijima, instead being handled by Etrian Odyssey artist Yuji Himukai, so he stands out visually as well as being unique in the series, and quite frankly, I just kinda like that. So I'm going to cheat a little bit on this next pick by discussing two different personas, Kronos and Apollo from Persona 2 Innocent Sin, the ultimate personas of Jun Kuroso and Tatsuya Suo respectively. At one point throughout the game, we're shown a flashback of the two characters as kids, where they give each other presents as a sign of their closeness. Jun gives Tatsuya a lighter, and Tatsuya gives Jun a watch. What I really love is we can clearly see how these items influenced the nature and appearance of their most powerful personas. It's not really a huge deal, but it's a nice touch that I certainly appreciated the game having. But there can only be one official holder of the slot, so I'm giving it to Kronos. Because he looks cooler. I talked a little bit about this pick back on an episode of the Demonic Compendium, but I still wanted to officially give Sukuna Hikuna a spot on this list. For starters, Sukuna Hikuna has one of the most varied and interesting movesets for any party member in the entire series, which alone is pretty impressive, but I also love this persona because he's so tiny. I'm totally serious. In a game series where the majority of party members' personas are some sort of enormous humanoid-like being, meeting Sukuna Hikuna for the first time and seeing the tiny little deity buzzing around was just really awesome for me. He's just so little. Hey! Remember how cool it was when the Persona series finally added Tsukiyomi into the series alongside Amaterasu and Susanoo by making him a weird-looking robot thing that can't fight and only exists in a book and may or may not be canonical? Of course you don't! Because it was the dumbest thing that's ever been dumbed! But then they rectified the dumb by reintroducing Tsukiyomi in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax as this moon-headed, liquid spear-carrying deity of awesomeness. What I find interesting about Tsukiyomi is, aside from his design, he's another byproduct of attempting to artificially create Persona users, which is a concept that's been around since Persona 2. But unlike other Personas that were specifically created using a plume of dust from Nyx, like Palladian, Ariadne, and possibly the 3 Strega Personas, Tsukiyomi isn't from the Greek pantheon like the rest, perhaps implying that Sho's own humanity was able to warp and shape the Persona in regards to his own ego. It raised some question about the nature of what form a Persona takes. Or maybe I'm just completely overthinking this, and they just really wanted to get that god into the games. Oh well. At least he's no longer a dumb, possibly non-canonical book-dwelling robot who can't fight. So that's good. Now I'm not 100% sure if this next choice is fair, because I don't know if it counts specifically as a persona, but there is no way I'm gonna leave the Crawling Chaos off this list. That's right, folks, it's Nyarlathotep. For those of you unfamiliar with the early Persona games, before every big baddie had to represent mankind's desire for solitude or destruction or wanting to put ketchup on eggs, this guy was the source of virtually every problem in the Persona world. An unstoppable, unkillable, unlikable, literally Lovecraftian horror, Nyarlathotep existed as the other side of the coin that was Philemon, the being that bestowed personas upon the party members. While the games make it obvious that he probably has the power to just destroy the world outright, he delights in tricking and manipulating others into doing it for him, and is even a good enough sport to give people a chance to stop him. Heck, in the very first game, if you follow a specific set of instructions, you can even use him as one of your own personas. One of the main reasons Nyarlathotep is on this list is due to the multiple forms he's taken throughout the series, and trust me, there's been a lot of them, and they're all pretty cool looking. Particularly this one. It's my favorite. Sometimes he'll even disguise himself as Persona and Persona user, like here when he took the form of this mysterious man with sunglasses. Whoever could he be? I guess we'll never know. And since Nyarlathotep is the source of all shadows, he's also behind concepts like the reverse personas and even the Joker personas from Eternal Punishment, which we now know he intentionally made to resemble Tatsuya, proving that even though he's a chaos-controlling monstrosity, he can still have fun. Wait, if all shadows stem from Nyarlathotep in some way, shape, or form, does that mean Teddy is technically a part of him?
Whee! We won!
Towards the top of this list is a persona I don't even really know a lot about, Arsene. Frankly, I don't have too much to say about this guy because all I really know is he's the protagonist's initial persona. I haven't played the game yet and have been avoiding information regarding its story. Yeah, I was lying in my intro. I'm not actually playing the game right now. This is all staged. YouTube movie magic. Behind the scenes funny business. I'm recording this in March. But the design of this guy is just so freaking sweet. And even compared to other starter personas, his role in the game itself seems pumped up quite a bit more, so I'm really excited to see how that'll play out. He could end up being even higher on this list if I revisit this idea in the future, but for now, he looks cool, he seems cool, and he's got one of the sweetest top hats I have ever seen. If you've got a reason why he shouldn't be on this list, I'd like to hear it. Actually, no, I wouldn't, because I don't want spoiled on anything. Okay, thanks. I like villains. I'm usually far more invested in their backstory, character, and motivations than I am the heroes of a story. And while we've seen plenty of villains in the series using similar personas to our heroes, I think the best instance of this is Toru Adachi's persona, Magatsu Izanami. Towards the end of the game, when you finally corner Adachi into a fight, I didn't really know what to expect from him. Every boss fight up to this point was usually some enormous shadow, so seeing Adachi summon his own persona in battle was pretty awesome. But seeing it as this darker, slightly more twisted version of a familiar face actually took me by surprise the first time I played the game. Literally meaning Calamity Izanagi, Magatsu Izanami resembles his normal counterpart, except he's all dark and red and glowy. Oh, and he carries his spear underhanded, which I thought was a nice little design touch. It may be kinda cliche, but you and Adachi have a real, we're not so different, you and I, thing going for them, and I think that's well reflected in their personas. Magatsu Izanami took me by surprise and left a sinfully sweet taste in my mouth that has made him one of my favorites. And he's just way cooler looking than regular Izanagi. As you've probably noticed throughout this video, most of my choices for what makes a top persona for me boils down to what I think makes a persona particularly interesting rather than just being cool. And he's just way cooler looking than regular Izanagi. I never said that couldn't be part of it! I mean, sure, Take Mikazuchi looks awesome, but what does he really do? Not much. So my top persona does something I don't think we've seen much of in the series. My top persona goes to Junpei Iori's ultimate persona, Trismegistus. Throughout previous Persona games, and especially in Persona 3, we've seen plenty of instances of an ultimate persona happening because of the character's growth. In many cases, the specific being the ultimate persona takes the form of is symbolic of its wielder's hardships. The reason why Trismegistus stands out to me so much is he feels like the first time where the persona itself had some sort of story arc that led to its transformation, instead of just the character reaching an epiphany. Trismegistus is formed when Chidori sacrifices her own life by essentially transferring her persona inside of Junpei so their personas fuse together. And you can even see the visual elements of both Hermes and Medea to create this new persona. We also see the transformation itself is unique. While nearly every other character in the game has that calm, serene moment of accepting a truth and knowing what they must do, Junpei's change happens as he summons his persona in pure rage. It's the only instance of the game of the transformation happening as the persona hits the ground running. Another one of my favorite touches is that Trismegistus inherited its moveset from Chidori's previous persona rather than just its design. The most notable instance here is that Junpei acquires her Spring of Life ability. At the time, a party member having a unique skill that even the protagonist couldn't learn was kind of a big deal. And I just realized this segment has run a little long and I haven't really included any jokes, so I'll just wrap this up by pointing out that he can also do this.
Here goes my special attack! Big bang!
And so there you have it, my top 10 personas throughout the history of the franchise. I went ahead and explained why these were my favorites, but I'm sure you've all got your own favorites, and you know what? I'd love to hear about them, so let me know who they are in the comments below. Now, who knows, as I get further into Persona 5, this entire list could be changed up. I might want to include some of the people from that game. But I won't know until I get further into Persona 5. Which I'd like to get back to playing now, if you don't mind. You do know it came out today, right? Oh, right. I already revealed I'm not actually playing it right now. This is a little awkward. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video. Happy Persona 5 release date. I can't believe it's finally here, and I hope all of you out there who are interested in it enjoy it. If you liked this video, please click that like button or maybe leave a nice comment. If you're not already subscribed, it'd mean a lot to me if you click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I talk about Megami Tensei stuff a lot, so if you'd like to hear me talk about something else, you can click that TV to watch my last video, where I went over my top 10 not Megami Tensei game franchises. As always, thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care. I'd like to give an honorable mention to Drill Hanya from Persona 2. He actually is one of my favorites because I love his design so much, but I had more to say about the other options, so he gets to be an ending credits Easter egg. Seriously, this dude looks so cool.